call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Mateusz Rebecki takes on Chris Duncan this Saturday in the co-main event of UFC Fight Night. And this is a good fight. You know, both these guys are very gritty, very skilled, don't back down, look to throw hands, do damage against their opponents. So I think this is going to be a fun fight. I think it's going to be a back and forth firefight between these guys. So Chris Duncan is 31 years old, 5'10" with a 71.5-inch reach. He's 11-2 on a 2-fight winning streak over Jordan Vucinic and Balaji. Before that was rear naked choked by Manuel Torres in the first round back in February of last year. He's a tough dude, you know, he throws good kicks, but can get countered off of them. Power in the hands, good punches, throws them at different angles. Knocked down Vucinic with like a kick to right hand combo in round 1 of their last fight. Just, he mixes up his strikes very well. Jiu-Jitsu purple belt, has good takedowns, had like 4 takedowns against Vucinic. I think he had like 5 against Omar Morales, but was taken down by Balaji and Manuel Torres like twice before he got choked out by Manuel Torres. Only has 37% takedown defense, so he can be taken down, and we've seen that, you know, several times in the UFC. He's a tough dude, but he can be hit, can be hurt. Was getting hit by Oki in that fight, getting tagged on the feet before he got the guillotine choke on Oki. Was hurt badly by Charlie Campbell in that fight on Dana White's Contender Series before he came back and got the KO. Was KO'd by Vorschev, or Vakishev Vorschev on Dana White's Contender Series before that. So his wins as of late, I just feel like they were kind of gimmies. You know, Balaji was tagging him on the feet for whatever reason, shot in, just gave him his neck for the guillotine choke. Same with Jordan Vucinic. He got dropped and kind of dominated in round 1, and then round 2 he really started to find his range on the feet. Shot an awful takedown. It just looked like he was like diving at his ankles, which got stuffed. And then again, shot in, gave him his neck, and gave Chris Duncan his second guillotine choke in a row. So not really sure how I rate those wins. Those are good opponents. But outside of that, beat Yanal Ashmouz, went to a split decision with Omar Morales. Like, not a great look. Got hurt bad by Charlie Campbell. Got finished by Manuel Torres in the first round. So, I don't know. I think the jury's still out on Chris Duncan. I think he's well-rounded. I think he's skilled. Doesn't have the best takedown defense, and concerned about his chin, which is a concern against Mateusz Rebecki, who's an absolute tank of a man. 32, 5'7", with a 66-inch reach. So he's going to be 3 inches shorter and be giving up 5.5 inches in reach. But he is 20-2, only 2 losses coming to Diego Ferreira in the UFC, and then lost to a guy on the regional scene 11 years ago. So had some really good performances in the UFC, including his loss to Diego Ferreira, where he was having some success in that fight before he got finished. But he's a jiu-jitsu black belt, 2 times ADCC European gold medalist. Like I said, just kind of a tree stump of a dude, muscled up, very powerful and strong for 155 pounds. He's a very powerful southpaw striker with a lot of KO ability. Kind of loads up his left hand, but it does have tons of power. He was tagging Loic Radzhabov with it and ended up getting the KO, and Loic Radzhabov's a huge dude for the division as well, and he was hurting him on the feet. Knocked down Diego Ferreira with it, round 1, but he does kind of just spam the 1-2. Doesn't mix it up very, very well. He will throw, you know, he will throw the jab, he will throw some uppercuts, has really heavy kicks though as well. Good head movement as he moves in and throws to kind of avoid getting hit. He'll feint well into the pocket and move his head as he engages, and then moving his head to get out. So he's pretty defensively responsible in terms of his striking. Like I said, strong leg kicks, was battering Loic with them in their fight, which kind of set up his knockout just because Loic Radzhabov could barely move, was getting dropped onto the ground. It was just kind of a sit and duck for that KO. And Rebecki has tons of experience, man. 22 fights now. How many fights in the UFC? This will be his 5th fight in the UFC. Had a really impressive performance against Miktabek Oralbai, where he had to dig really deep in that fight. He's just tough as nails. He can take a shot. He's got a decent chin. Does tend to fade in fights though. He was beaten on Oralbai in that last fight and got really tired. But that's just because he was, putting everything into his strikes. But I'm gonna go with Rebecki in this one. I think he'll be tagging Chris Duncan on the feet. Duncan, he's not going to be getting a guillotine on somebody like Rebecki. He's just too skilled. He's too strong. He's too high level of a grappler. Rebecki he'll have the grappling ability to deal with Duncan's takedowns as well. He's just not going to give Duncan the takedowns. Not going to give him his neck on a silver platter. Duncan's a tough dude. He's very well rounded, but as we've seen, he can be he can be hurt. He can be finished. He can be out grappled. And somebody like Rebecki, who's just going to be throwing hammers, shooting takedowns, has a lot of submission ability wherever the fight goes. It's just not, you can't be that finishable, in my opinion, because Rebecki is just a savage. I think he holds the power advantage on the feet with his kicks and his punches. He's going to push a high pace with tons of pressure against Chris Duncan. He's a much better grappler, in my opinion, and I don't think Duncan will be able to withstand the onslaught that Rebecki is going to be bringing. I don't think he has the chin, the grit, the toughness to withstand Rebecki's power and his aggression. Rebecki gets tired when he's going for the finish, against like really good guys. When he hurts them and he really pours it on, that's when he gets tired. I don't think Chris Duncan has the level of toughness of Diego Ferreira or a Mick Orlby to take the shots and survive in order to tire somebody out like Rebecki. I think if Rebecki gets Duncan hurt, he's going to get him out of there. And if he can't hurt him, I think it'll just be like beating him up consistently at a pace where he doesn't gas out. So I'm going to go with Rebecki. I do think he does get the finish. The odds are crazy, in my opinion. He's only a minus 210, Mateusz Rebecki. I don't know what they're seeing that I'm not, but I think Rebecki is just much better everywhere. More well-rounded, more finishing potential, more experience. The only knock on him is his cardio. And I think that's something that he can manage a little bit better. And we really only need to be concerned about it if he, is beating on Chris Duncan and tires himself out. Because I don't see Chris Duncan, I don't see him getting the takedowns on Rebecki. I don't see him out grappling him. I don't see him out landing him. I don't see him pushing him back and getting him tired. So I think Rebecki is going to learn from his prior almost lost to Orlby and his loss to Ferreira and kind of pacing himself a little bit better, not burning himself out when he gets somebody hurt, but rather picking his shots and looking for that clean finish. So I'm going to go with Rebecki to get this one done by finish. Thanks.